Cloud. So hi everyone, this is January 19, 2022. This is the first meeting of K8s Infra of the year. So just a reminder that this meeting is under the Kubernetes Code of Conduct. So if you have any issue, reach out to conduct@k8s.io and please be excellent to each other during this meeting. So do I start with the building report or the introduction of new people, because I see someone new to this call? Not new to me, but new to this call.
Hello.
Yep.
Hi, Benjamin.
Hey there. How you guys doing? I'm Benjamin Coles. I work over at Apple, and I'm pretty sure, like a lot of people that want to come jump in and get involved, that I'm here to help. But I'm just a little bit different. And the way that I stand out is I worked on the Gen 2 project, which is an open source distribution, and so I do have history working in open source, and I'm not just easy to scare away. I plan on sticking around. I'll let you guys be the judge of that.
So glad you're here.
Welcome, Ben. What team are you on at Fruit Stand?
So let's say we're finance decisioning systems, right? I was over in IS&T previously, and then I went over to ACI, and now I'm over in the finance org. And the whole target in there is how do we reduce waste and save the company money. So I hear that's a lot of what you guys are trying to do here too.
You've come to the right place.
So for full transparency, Benjamin talked to Paris, I think, very frequently. So that, I think she was the one suggesting to basically come to this meeting. So my plan with Benjamin is to basically onboard him with K8s Infra and see how we can optimize the costs on GCP. I need to add you in a Google group for audit, so you can basically have access to the entire organization, and we can start have conversation about cost optimization. Because my plan is give him a full overview of K8s Infra this year and start to bring some way to optimize costs in 2023. And by the way, I have a subject for you, Benjamin. Header, the other bin.
Okay.
I need to add it. Let me add it to the I'm gonna be confused for the entire meeting.
Fine.
So from now on, Benjamin Elder is Ben and Benjamin Coles is Benjamin. How's that?
Fine for me.
Works for me.
That's the best. I don't have the issue. Okay. Okay. Let me share the. Sorry, my client crashed. I'm still in the meetings. I need to share the screen and claim the key. Oh, this is gonna be funny. Thanks, James. Can you share the screen? I mean, the billing report. Give me just so I can basically get the cost case somewhere.
Dims, you're on soft mute.
How about I make you host.
Oh,
Arno.
thank you.
Okay. Did you get that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Please don't crash.
Okay, you're the host now.
Oh, portion of the screen. All right.
You're muted, Arno.
Sorry, I'm caused by the guys today. I can't share my screen because it's just crashing the client every time. So
Okay.
I will leave James run the meeting.
Well, what's the URL for the billing report? I have
It's inside the notes. You
in the
just,
notes.
Yep.
Okay, K8s Infra, agenda notes.
You just can share the screen and I can basically have some
Yeah,
thoughts.
Data Studio report, 1 sec. Okay, share screen. Share. Yeah, can you see it?
Yep.
Woo.
Okay, last 28 days.
You can just use the left and right case to go over
Okay.
the report. So I think we can go to page 1 and page 5. That's enough. I don't see a really change in this report since the last time we had the meeting. I think it was December 8th. So I don't think we need to spend more than 2 minutes for this billing report. I plan to put the full expense of the past year in the annual report, so I don't think we need to speak about this in these meetings.
Okay, can I stop sharing now, or do you want me to share something else?
The docs.
This one. Okay.
Anyone has a question about the billing report?
So Arno,
Yep.
when does the yearly budget end? Do you know? Is it March to March, or is it January to December?
For 2022 is gonna be January 1st to December 31.
Okay.
And we already got the funding from Google this year.
Okay, sounds good.
We will have conversations, I believe, sometime by July, June or July, for ongoing for the next year. So be ready for that.
For 2023.
Because it's been coming in 3-year sets, and so this is the time for us to have that conversation for the next 3 years. And so the budget and the things and understanding how that flows would be. It's going to be critical to have all the information we need to frame that conversation well.
I think Tim is supposed to take care of that and provide all the information. If I'm not wrong, I think he's already provide all those information in December because he reached out and inside Google about this.
Okay, it may be something within that because it's also through the CNCF trying to go through the Kubernetes Cloud Native Credits program. So it's maybe looping that portion in.
I'm not really involved in the conversation between Google and CNCF, so I think that's gonna be Tim.
Okay.
I mean, feel free to ping me if you have any question in July, but I think it's gonna be mainly the conversation will be mainly with Tim or an Aaron if needed. Okay. Any other question?
I do have a question. Did we make progress on trying to figure out where the costs are going for the downloads, I guess? Kate's artifacts prod.
You mean I think last year we identified, I think AP folks identify where basically where the cost, the traffic is coming from. And I think right now is I'm gonna talk about this in the first item. Basically, we need to try to build a solution that's gonna solve the problem for us short term. And long term, we need to plan something else. So it's still not clear. So that's why I want to talk about this today.
Oh, okay, sounds good. Let's go to the first one then.
Okay, so the main item is basically the migration of all the artifacts produced by the community to K8s Infra. So AP submit a cap about this, and SIG Release is the owner of that. We had a conversation about this yesterday, and I think they're supposed to have another conversation about this next week with SIG Release folks, SIG Release chair and technical lead, if I'm correct. I may be wrong, AP. Is it just SIG chair or?
I think we had some really good conversations with Stephen Augustus, and there's a thread that we started on the SIG K8s Infra channel, inviting them to come today.
Yep.
But we will have an ongoing.
Yeah, so
like we need to have a working group meeting, and so my hope was that we could use this time, or when we poke a little more in the thread, to go ahead and schedule that time, so that we can get it to a consensus on the policy. Because without the policy defined, that's kind of what we have several different technical solutions lined up to run with, but we need to go ahead and, using this KEP as an alignment, how do we update the image promoter to push to the right places, and how do we update the redirection to be sure that things are split appropriately to head to those providers, to help share the load. It'd be great to have it. I think one of the difficulties has been is because it's multi SIG, trying to get the consensus and collaboration on for sign off is taken longer than as I'm learning how to connect all of the groups together. So suggestions are welcome. I think this last call that I was on with SIG Release Engineering was very beneficial, and the stepping up of both Cole, about both of the chairs, the co-chairs for that, to schedule this new meeting is positive. But I don't see them here today, so we'll need to swing back around for that. Help welcome and comments welcome. I don't know. I may be.
I'm going to stick my foot in my mouth a little bit here, but it seems to me that we probably should not allow it to get that bogged down on this. Like, SIG Release today doesn't define how GCR works internally. That's out of scope. The contract is like, we provide a registry, releases are built and pushed to it. If we provide something that meets that goal, I don't see where the sign off is.
Well, the conversation is not related to GCR or Kate GCR. The main intent of this policy is not allow, basically be able to push to other container registry other than GCR. That's the main point of
Potentially that
this.
could be an implementation. You don't necessarily, I
Yep.
mean, potentially we're
We don't
just
need-
providing a different container registry. Like that again seems like an implementation detail of the like registry domain. And that seems overly specific for KEP as well.
what
And looking at the KEP, I don't think that's in there right now. So I guess
that's the point of this cap. The cap is, we don't need a cap for that. You're right. I mean, that's all up to SIG release to basically decide if they want to push to, let's say, Amazon. But we want a cap as a way to have a conversation about what's the
that
policy.
also I would argue, and maybe I need to revisit the charter, but I would also argue that that's actually not in scope for that SIG.
Well,
They're in
it's
charge of the process of build and release, right? But not details like how do we provide hosting for it? What is the funding for that? Where is the infrastructure? Like that has never been the case.
it's not the case for SIG release, but SIG release can basically decide to get funding for that if they want.
Okay, but we're looking at doing that.
Not that. I think that's why AP want a conversation, a kind of working group between K8s Infra and SIG release, and we can decide. K8s Infra doesn't need to be in that conversation if SIG release decide to host
Okay, I
that
guess
somewhere else.
what I'm looking for is, where did we get stuck? It sounds like the policy deals with more so the problem is we can't settle on the implementation details, but those shouldn't need to
We
be
provided 4 implementations 6 months ago. And it
right.
was-
Seems like we should be able to move forward with one.
Okay, we are not stuck about this. Basically, that's why I want to leave SIG release made that conversation. We don't need to wait for that policy to look at different option.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why artifact management is an epic for SIG release. They are supposed to make the ultimate call about where to basically push all the artifacts. The policy have to define which XML, when I say XML, is basically something else than GCR to push those container images.
I guess what I'm getting at is that GCR internally is backed by multiple things, and that we don't have a cap about like is GCR backed by GCS or whatever. That's an implementation detail. Right. Instead, we're just providing here's a registry, you push to it, and SIG release is responsible for determining what things are we pushing when and how do we make sure they're secure and built and whatever. I don't see where we're hitting the breakdown on like. Why don't we just move forward with a technical decision that saves us money as opposed to like
we don't have
like, why is there a policy for this?
There is a separation of responsibility and concern here. About container images, we don't have to wait for this cap. This cap is done by SIG release, and the conversation between SIG release and K8s Infra is how K8s Infra is involved in this.
It sounded to me like Hippie felt like
this cap is from me, and I'm trying to find the right sponsor.
Yeah. So if we can move forward without the cap, I think we need to clear that up here so that we can move forward. And if not, I guess I'm missing what it is that we can't move forward because of
Ben. The pushback so far that I've received from both sides is that we want to see a policy in place before we choose an implementation. And so this was my attempt at trying to get shared consensus between what is the policy before we choose. And then if we can go forward without the policy and go ahead and work with an implementation as K8s Infra, I think that's okay, but it's been difficult to get consensus on
a different way.
not needing a policy.
you know, everyone that has any vested interest in this is going to want to, you know, sign off on the final details and the policy and rolling it out and things. But I don't think that's a blocker for saying, look, we have something, and then negotiating the remaining.
I'm gonna
And again, I would point out that like the backing storage and things like that are the internals of these things, we don't even control that today, and it's been fine.
Okay, so I'm gonna clarify one thing: is we never say it's blocking for something, for basically for progress. This is basically a way for AP to have a way to express in a document how we promote images outside of K8s Infra.
I think that's also just like the detail of the push API for the registry, right?
I'm okay with that, and I want to basically leave SIG release make the final decision about this, but it's not blocking us to look at other option. We
I
can
still think
basically
that's wrong. I think that there should be determining when we push and what we push, but the availability of something to push to seems squarely in the domain of this SIG. And the exact mechanisms that are provided to SIGs to access the resources.
That's a problem. Is the
also
current
seems like the purview of this SIG, which would be the push mechanism.
Yeah, so that's a problem with the current charter of K8s Infra is basically we don't cover infrastructure outside of GCP.
That seems like it needs amending.
I agree. So the current charter don't cover infrastructure outside of GCP.
Circling back, you said that we're not blocked on this, but I'm pretty certain I heard Tippy saying that he feels like he is blocked. So
no, Epic, you are not blocked about this. I think if
the choosing of an implementation has been blocked. Like I've gone back and said, well, we're not going to choose one of these until we have a way. And
is not. I think maybe we need to clarify that inside SIG release. I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
In the next meeting, we can have. They are not the option we had in the first conversation are not mutually exclusive. We can have multiple technical implementation. We can have, because for the clarification of the conversation, the first conversation we had about this was either we have mirrors or a pull-through cache system, but they are not mutually exclusive. We can do both at the same time, and we can basically use both in different ways. It's not blocking.
Okay. Well,
because SIG release have final decision on the artifact, the CAP need to be basically validated by and SIG release.
I would say yes and no. I mean, we still have to actually provide the registry, and it looks like right now we are burning through way too much on the registry.
I mean, SIG release can, at their discretion, decide to basically get those registries and administer. I mean, do all the administration if they decide to do that. I mean, are we not blocked on that?
Well, yeah, right. But that, like, of the contents, I guess is what I'm getting at, as opposed to
even of the content. If SIG release decide
as opposed to the existence of it. I think unless we've really messed up a chart, it seems like we should be able to work on the existence of a registry as opposed to the.
Yeah, but only for. That's why I'm saying the current charter is for K8s Infra is only GCP. If you look at the current charter, is
but GCP. That's a separate bug, right? That doesn't deal with whether or not we have them from. That seems like a very minor fix that I can't imagine anyone blocking.
Edit, put the PR forward.
Yeah, that seems like we should just go make a PR after this call that notes that it's not just GCP.
And James, if you look at the charter, elsewhere, I don't have funding for that. That's my problem, James.
There we go. Okay, we're done. So this is fine. So it sounds like what we should. I feel like what we should be doing is we should move forward with an actual concrete multi-vendor registry and see that it works, and then we can continue the conversation in parallel about, okay, we need to roll this out, And this isn't really an ask because, I mean, we're gonna run out of money.
Yeah, I think at this point, let's talk about the details about the 4 options and
Yep.
just go with something. Let's not wait on the KEP or SIG release. That's going to, we are never going to get anywhere. We are already very slow and we need to pick steam up. So, Hippie, what do you need? You have 4 options. Which one do you like? And what are the 4?
Also, full disclosure, Hippie, I haven't had a chance to sync with everyone yet, but I started looking into this a bit, and Tim has requested that like my team focus on that, and that means me.
It's gotten high priority everywhere.
I've got. I have myself cleared for headcount to like work on this.
Right.
Absolutely. It might, if we just go through and share what we've got so far, I think picking out the best bits of each piece will culminate in a nice shared, beautiful thing.
Right.
Yeah, I think maybe we need to have that somewhere else. But I've gone through the bits and I'm prepared for that conversation. What I was looking for here is just so everyone here agrees that like we're like Hippie is not blocked. We're not blocked. We should move this.
Go do it.
Yeah.
No, I think the problem here is just this process right now. Basically, EP open a cap, involve K8s Infra and SIG release. We can do the approval, but we have some conversation about the output of this cap.
Or no, at this point, let the cap take its own life. Like we don't care about that. Let's just do the work that is required to, make it real.
I think the policy will fall into place once we have a real thing, and that the having the policy in place shouldn't block us from standing up something and saying, look, this is available and we're hemorrhaging money.
Yeah.
Well, we never say that. We never say it's blocking. We never say the cap is blocking.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we are all on the same page now.
Eddie?
Yeah.
Has had his hand up.
That's okay. This is all the same thing. Obviously, this has been going for a while. The question of funding was brought up a few times. I know Arno has an item further down the list about funding requests. With what Ben was saying about the scope and charter of the SIG, we need to figure out in terms of like AWS account and other accounts, like what we want to do, right? Because Hippie, I'm pretty sure Hippie is now like the owner of the CNCF's AWS account. Yeah, so like these are the people to talk to in terms of funding. Like, do we use that account? Do we make a new one? That account's actually an organization. Do we add sub accounts? Like, so this is the group to figure that out as well.
Yeah, agree, Eddie. So anything that can help us track the costs and make sure that we are not blowing up the budget kind of thing will definitely be useful. And if it's a sub account, then it's a sub account, right? Hippie.
Yep, that would fit well within understanding the cost structure for everything else as well, and what I had initially planned, but we just never gotten to the point of having that conversation, and I think we're there.
I think I made a request for funding. Let me find a request. So I think we can basically start.
I can drop the link for the CNCF one, if that's what we would like to do. I know that personally, it's where I put a lot of my efforts into.
Let me find
I'll drop it in the chat.
So I think I see something to, yeah.
This one, right, Hippie?
That's a proposal. Yeah, that's where the 4 proposals are. I meant the link I dropped was for the funding request.
Okay.
Basically that's steering that need to do that because K8s Infra can have access to that. So I find an issue to basically ask steering to open I don't know if it's a ticket or something else. So I think we need to go through the process and that's why I say to brand like not the cap is not blocking, not is blocking. We just need to basically to start roll out the things and basically start to implement something.
I guess we should clarify that, like, we definitely need agreement on final rollout. Like, it is important to make sure this goes smoothly with our friends that we work with in SIG release, but we should be able to provide an OCI compliant registry that solves our funding issues
Well, but
without
like I said, the mirror is not
in
blocking
parallel.
for that. Yeah,
Yep.
in parallel is not blocking. We can have both in at the same time, and we can see what's happening and what's the best option.
I'll create a request for a working session and include Ben and anyone else that he'd like to invite and put it to the mailing list. Or we can even do that faster.
Time zone. Yeah, you're gonna have a real problem with time zone because most of the folks are like Europe and
We
It's
might
okay.
want to just find an async meeting, I don't know, Slack or something, and start hashing it out.
Yeah,
you can basically.
Yeah, we have really horrible time zone spread.
make a thread and let's start knocking it out. And we can choose, you know, even pairing sessions with just a couple of folks to move pieces forward where we need to have, because it's working group. It's not big meeting thing. It's kick the ball down the field.
Hippie, why don't we just do it on a Google Doc?
Yep.
So everybody is able to like either suggest or edit. As few people get edits and the rest get suggest, and
Cool.
do it that way. Slack, you're going to lose track of the threads and what
Absolutely.
got. Yeah.
I'll create that and put it forward via a mailing after this meeting.
Okay.
Are we okay with everything I said?
Yeah, I'll get you the permission for the whatever amount you asked for, Arno.
Okay.
That shouldn't be a thing. And Hippie can actually go ahead and do whatever he needs to do on the CNCF side. You know, just tell the people that need to be told that there is going to be a sub account and for this purpose kind of thing. So
there's the
when we use the sub account, then it becomes an issue. If you create a sub account, nobody's going to care.
no stress. Yeah, we can go ahead and get those credentials out. I can also do that initially and at least give it to the co-chairs and the chairs on this SIG.
Right.
Great. Are we good with that interesting conversation?
Yeah,
progress. It's a milestone meeting, to be honest.
Okay. My next subject will be system packages. And so I put the link. Basically, this is an issue opened by James 3 years ago. So I don't have context anymore about this. A lot of things happen between.
Yeah. So I think at this point, you know, well, the issue still is we need you know, the Google admins to create the deb and RPM. Hi, Ben. And we have a new person who's going to be taking over duties from Amit also. So that's the update there. So this one is basically like at that point in time, I was pushing for you know, having a shared signed key and then using that to sign the artifacts instead of relying on you know, Google admins to be able to do that. I think at this point, this is on SIG releases plate. Let them do what they want to do, and let's not worry about it. You know, we don't. For us here, it is about providing the infrastructure where they can store things, and you know, they can choose however they want to sign it and upload it. And at this point, I think they are moving towards trying to use the SIG store and cosign and things like that to be able to sign artifacts. I don't remember seeing a KEP on that yet, but you know, I might have missed something. But it's squarely on SIG releases plate what artifacts they'll upload to the infrastructure that we give them.
There's some additional parts to this issue, but they're also not this SIG. Like currently, the actual packages are also built on like my workstation, which is not ideal from a community perspective. We really ideally want the main part of this issue originally, if you look through the checklist, is that like these things should be part of our release build and like stored on community infra and whatnot, even before we get to the point of the final publication. Right now, all of that happens on a Googler workstation and then it gets published. But moving that stuff should be straightforward, standard SIG release things.
Yeah.
And we probably just have some conversation at some point when they're ready for it about the actual like Deb and RPM package host.
So I have I have two questions. Uh, is Google plan to disclose technical detail of Rapture, or
I
do we
mean,
need?
no, but there's no need to. Deb and RPM hosts are literally HTTP file servers.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Like
we
you
don't
can,
need
any web dev compliant server, all of the work that goes into it is just you have like there's a certain layout to place the files. And then the signing stuff is, I mean, it's a signing key. Obviously, there's Google's internal info for that, but like, there's no reason we need to replicate that.
no,
Yeah.
it's
So the thing there is like if they come to us to say, hey, we want to store a key, then we go figure out how to store the key kind of thing. And we already have some solutions for that.
Oh,
So at this point, let's not worry about this at all.
and in fact, I brought that conversation with engineering yesterday. I'm gonna work with that with Stephen this milestone. So my second question is, if we issue a new signing key for the packages, and we do that only for RPM, because I'm supposed Debian deprecates package signature with GPG. Do we are we
Again, they can mint the key. They will tell us to store the key somewhere, right? Like, so let's not worry about the
and
key
do it?
creation also. It's up to them. And
Oh,
we don't know what all requirements will come from the SIG store or cosign point of view. They might be dealing with some certificates and things like that
okay.
too. So
Let me.
right. So it when they come to us saying, here is an artifact, we need to store it somewhere, then we go figure out what do they need and how do we make sure that it is secure. Until they come to us with that, let's not worry about this.
Okay, can I flip my hat because I'm a release manager?
Yeah.
So as a release manager, I'm gonna have a signing key and bring that inside Gates Infra. So
Yep.
my question is, for downstream distribution, do we have an NPAC?
Downstream right now doesn't have access to Google's key, so downstreams have learned to work with whatever the community is putting out already. So there is no change in downstream.
I mean, they'll have to switch over to the new location and the new key, but that's not, I think, a super unusual event. In fact, Arnaud, you shared with me a link about Docker published when they did this.
Yeah.
That will have to happen. This is not really a concern of it, but since I'm here, that will have to happen because I mean, I don't even have the key. That's not how that works. I can't give you a key. I can't add a key.
Right.
I have no control over the keys. The only thing I can do is request a package be signed on my behalf with special authorization and things. They'll just have to make a key and host it, and the downstream impact will be users will need to switch, but we can have maybe a release where we publish both or something at the moment, especially since we are getting back to 3 people running this for now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it is very back burner thing, so it's not important to this SIG, but I need to have that conversation that this does need to happen, and when it does, we can figure out providing hosting for it.
Okay. Let me, because I felt like we can do the flip these milestones if there's not something. I mean, basically, is it possible we start do the release without the Google build team for the next milestones?
It should be, because I mean, nothing stops you from taking a Debian package and publishing it to another host with another key,
Okay.
or building a different package with some different mechanism in parallel, since the current ones aren't built publicly either, which is not great.
So should I clear the milestone or no, since I am here in this page?
Just put that for 124. The current milestone is 124, right?
It is in 124. You want
Okay.
125?
I know 124, because I'm gonna start. I will basically bring the conversation to SIG release next.
Yeah.
SIG release in 2 weeks, so we can basically have the new signing key ready and start to do some tests.
Yeah. Again, going back to what I was saying before, the release managing team need to figure out how cosign works and what are the inputs needed and which ones need to be secure, and tell us what needs to be secured, and then we can they can raise an issue with us, and we can then figure out how to provide the infrastructure for that. And we can look in both, GCP has secrets and AWS has some secret stuff too. And worst case, there is Vault or something like that we can look at.
And like
And
I
just to
said,
clarify, the Google Infra being moved, it's literally just a package host, and then in the scripts that build and publish the package, they call into something to get a package signed and to get it uploaded. So we just need to replace those calls with some standard signings thing like cosign, and with whatever upload mechanism is used by whatever host we select.
okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So just to clarify with James, that conversational is happening right now. So that's why I'm saying we can put the milestone to 124, because
That's fine.
MVP.
I'm happy to leave it at 124.
Yep.
It's as long as it is not on our plate. And looking at the labels, it is not on our plate. It is with release engineering and SIG release.
I'm speaking as a release manager.
Yeah, got
associate, it. So
yeah, and remember, I have been wanting this for a few years now.
yeah, I want to push forward for this. I mean, be to the point, at least for the milestone. So be to the point we basically have the SIG release as the signing key, and basically know where to push those packages inside K8s Infra.
We can also follow up more about this offline. I definitely want this, because right now one of the things that takes the most time is running the actual build and debugging it and whatnot. And it doesn't seem like that should be happening as part of the public release process. So
and Arno, since you are talking in SIG release about these things, you can also ask them about how do we sign kubectl, so that it does the kubectl on Windows and Mac, how to sign that as well.
Okay, let me take the point.
So downstream, I know we do that. So while we are doing this, we might as well research about how to sign, using whatever things is required by Mac OS and Windows.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You can skip, because we have 10 minutes left, so you can speak this one. So basically, the job migration is just we need to hold everything related to migration of the pro job, because we need to fix that the cost burden. And the last thing for me is the migration to a domain on Google Group. I plan to do that by end of the week. So we are moving for Google Groups to something like SIG K8s Infra at Kubernetes.io. It's kind of easy to do for me, I think. I have an open issue. I have an open pull request for this, so I plan to do the migration and send a communication about this. So this is more like a heads up and not.
Yeah, this is just us so it doesn't involve the community or anything like that. So yeah,
Nope,
we can
nope.
deal with it.
Okay.
Sorry, real quick,
Thanks.
can we
Yeah.
go back to the package thing real fast, the debs and RPMs? Do we have a formal policy around that at all?
Nope.
No. Okay.
We just have prior art.
Okay. So the reason I'm bringing this up is we get asked for kube control to be available in every single package manager possible that you can imagine, and some you've never heard of. And our stance has always been like the Kubernetes project just provides binaries, and we rely on the community to handle distribution to their favorite package managers. I have that memorized if you don't remember. So if we want to change anything in terms of like packaging, if we want to say like we're going to support a DEM and an RPM repo, that's cool and all. Just keep that in mind too. Is like the community, as soon as we start like beyond doing an official DEB thing, the community is going to want us to publish packages everywhere.
Right. So I don't think the SIG release wants to do anything more than DEB and RPM. It's whatever we have today with a new signing key that is or equivalent using whatever cosign and salsa and other things that they are looking at.
Cool.
Though to be fair, the existing thing is sort of just someone did it very early in the project and just used Google stuff. And I don't think there was a super conscious, like there certainly wasn't a KEP or anything like that.
Yeah, we didn't have KEP in those days.
So it may be worth revisiting if this is even something the project needs to be doing.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not going to question. I would, because that leads to a whole larger conversation and more chaos. And it's better to just say, hey, this is a new DEB and RPM. Here is where you can get the key to verify that those are good, or or equivalent command line things to verify the DEBs and RPMs are up to par.
This tree was planted long ago. We're going to take care of it, but no more seeds in this part of the garden, please.
Right. But I did have something additional, Hippie, which is how do you make sure that kubectl doesn't trip over Mac OS and Windows stuff?
It depends on if we're talking about what package manager, right? And their mechanisms for signing.
Right. What is required to store was what I was talking about, and not the actual signing portion bit. That can come later. SIG release
also, I
can
think
deal with it.
The operating system level stuff, not the package manager level stuff.
Right.
Right.
Are we good with any question?
I think we definitely made good progress today. Thanks, Arno.
Excited and happy for this meeting.
Okay, Hippie, dump whatever you have in the doc, and then we'll start working through.
We'll definitely get that going.
Okay.
I don't know. I want to finish my last question with Ben and answer the question to AP in the chat. So which one is better for you, James?
Yeah, go for it. Whatever you want to do. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm gonna finish. So I mean, James, can you take care of the issue for funding?
Yes, I already pinged steering, so don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you. And Bren, so I have a question about greenhouse. Can we shut it down on K8s Infra? Because
it would be nice to check the storage and see what's in there. In the past, we kind of let whatever subprojects that want to use it. This wasn't on K8s Infra billing. We should, Kubernetes itself shouldn't need this anymore, but there have been other projects using one. So the other possibility is that we downsize it, or we need to tell those projects that like they're going to lose caching their builds. I'm not sure who's using it today.
Okay, because we have two instances of greenhouse right now. We have one inside Google and the other one inside K8s Infra. And so far, the current settings use the Google one. So I'm curious if
It uses whichever one is in they're local to the build cluster. So wherever the
Okay.
CI is actually running, that's which one it's going to use. So like if someone had stuff running on K8s Infra cluster and we're trying to use the build cache, then they would wind up using that one. Both of them probably should get shut down, but I know in the past that at the very least, KOps was using this. I don't know if they are today, and I mean, don't know who else. I used to have monitoring for this, but that was on Velodrome, which got shut down and moved by another team, and those dashboards were never migrated. And I don't know the new stuff and haven't had time because Greenhouse is something I built as a side project years ago to speed up.
Basically metrics from metrics of the K8s Infra 1 go to the monitoring stack for Pro.
Yeah. So well, I mean, I had like monitoring on the application itself. I don't have that now. If we can get like the logs or look at the storage or something, we could figure out if anybody's storing anything in there and go talk to them.
Okay, because SIG testing is dropping Bazel, I feel like
well from Kubernetes, right? But there are other sub projects with it.
Okay.
So like we're also at this point removing it from test infra, but I can't say that doesn't mean any other sub projects don't have it. Last I checked, KOps had it. I'm not sure about the rest. We have a lot of repos, and since it's just an open HTTP endpoint within the cluster, it would be trivial for other projects to be using it. And I'm pretty certain they were. So at the very least, we should check with them, and we should check. It should be pretty straightforward if we go like take a poke at the running app to see like who is actually accessing it.
Okay. Now I did a check, so that's why I'm asking that. So I feel like we can shut it down, but
yeah, I'll follow. We can follow up line. I think we should be good. I have a thing that says like shut down. I have an issue in testing for that says shut down or downsize it.
Okay.
But I just haven't had time.
Okay. Good. We have.
I actually forgot that we were running one on the K8s Infra side. On the Google side, it's not big enough to be a major concern.
Well, I mean, it's on the K8s Infra side, it's a financial problem for me.
Yeah. Well, we can follow up with that.
Okay, I have 2 minutes left for Jim. And I have just one question. What do you need from me to move forward with code search?
I just keep getting other priorities with my current job.
Okay, fine.
Hopefully Friday. Somebody else actually chimed in and said they might be able to help me out on that thread from the other day.
Because I felt like I'm not in rush about this, just to be sure you don't need something from me or an LGTM approval or a comment about the pull requests.
No, I'm your blocker right now.
Okay.
It's not
Take your time. Take your time.
I will hopefully get to it.
Okay, we have 2 minutes left. I think we cover all the subjects for this first one. Thank you for joining us and welcome to Benjamin Calls. So have a good day, everyone.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. See ya.
See you.